This right here is a quick and easy Beijing beef stir fry. If I'm being completely honest, it's probably the best stir fry meal prep that we've done on the channel. It's 576 calories per portion and 52 grams of protein. It's perfect for storing, super easy to reheat, and of course, it tastes fantastic.
We're going to need 2 brown or yellow onions. These are on the smaller side, preferably if you can have a larger, that's even better. Take off both ends, slice it in half, and then peel it, and then all we're doing is roughly chopping it. We don't need it to be too perfect. I like to cut these into large quarters, and then you get those nice large chunks through the stir fry. Next is 1 large red bell pepper or capsicum. You can use any color here, but I like to use red. Stand it up and then slice around the core and pith. This is the cleanest method. Trim off any pith that may be left in the flesh. Then we're going to dice these up or cube them up the same size as the onions into those nice large pieces. We're then going to need 4 cloves of garlic. You can roughly chop it, you can thinly slice it like what I'm doing. I don't recommend grating it for this one because it's too fine and will burn very quickly. I like to slice it because you get those really nice caramelized pieces. An optional ingredient is 2 spring onions or scallions. Don't go out and buy a whole bunch just to use 2. If you've got them lying around, then definitely use them. As for the roots, this can be roughly chopped and used with the capsicums and onions. And then with the stems, we can thinly slice these on an angle, and we'll use this as a garnish at the end. Last but not least is 800 grams or 1.7 pounds of any lean steak of your choice. I'm using Scotch fillet or boneless ribeye for the US. Place this in the freezer for about 30 minutes prior to slicing. It will make things so much easier. And then slice this as thin as you can. Take your time, don't need to rush it. Just get those nice thin pieces. That way it will crisp up really well. When you have that done, place it into a bowl and add in 1 tablespoon of low sodium soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of corn flour. This is going to help things thicken and crust, 1 teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda to velvet or make the meat extremely tender, and then ground white pepper to taste. Give it a good mix around with a spoon or use clean hands. Make sure everything's completely mixed through, especially the corn flour and that bicarb soda. And then we can set this aside until we're ready to cook. You don't need to marinate it for too long. Now for our Beijing sauce, it's 1/4 cup of low sodium soy sauce, 1/3 cup of chicken stock or vegetable stock, 1 tablespoon of Sriracha sauce. You don't have to use it, but it is a really nice addition. 1 tablespoon of Hoisin sauce and 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce. You can use one or the other or both like what I have. 1 tablespoon of black vinegar, and then 2 teaspoons of corn flour. Get in there with a whisk, make sure everything is completely mixed through, mainly concentrating on that corn flour, making sure that there's no clumps. With the prep out of the way, we'll get the rice on. This is 300 grams of washed jasmine rice to 550 milliliters of chicken stock or water, as well as a nice pinch of salt. Mix it around to prevent any clumps and then bring it up to a boil. Place on a lid, lower the heat, and cook this for 12 minutes undisturbed. In the meantime, we'll place a large wok over a high heat, get this nice and hot to the point that it's smoking, and I'm using avocado spray oil, which is not an aerosol, but you can use about 1 tablespoon of peanut oil. And then in batches, we're going to add our beef. Don't do this all at once because you'll overcrowd the pan and it will steam. You won't get any color on the meat. And what we want to do with this is cook it for about 2 to 2.5 minutes and get that nice brown coating all over. And try not to do what I did and then set off the smoke alarm. It is really hard. These things are so sensitive, but of course they're safe. And then anyway, what you should have is something that looks like this that we can remove, place that pan back onto the stovetop, and then repeat with the remaining batch. And once that's all done, we can add in a little bit more of that avocado spray and then add in our onions and our bell peppers. Also adding in the root of that spring onion or scallion if you've decided to use it. With the veggies in, we'll stir fry these for about 3 to 4 minutes, getting that nice charry color on there. It brings out a really nice smoky flavor. We're mainly just looking for that onion to soften and become transparent, but a little bit of that char is extra flavor, and I definitely recommend trying to get it. At this point, I do recommend adding in the garlic and cooking it for 1 minute before we then add the beef and the sauce, but I kind of forgot that it was sitting next to me the whole time. So let's just imagine that I've cooked the garlic off, then added the beef and then the sauce, and then we mix it all together. And we only need to cook this for about a minute to get that sauce nice and thick. The corn flour in there will thicken up from the heat, get everything really well coated, and you should have something that looks like this that we can then remove from the stovetop. Going back to the rice, turn it off the heat after 12 minutes and leave the lid on for a final 4. Then we can remove the lid and then fluff this up with a fork or a spatula, and you'll have this nice soft sticky rice. Jasmine rice, perfect for dishes like this, but you can also use basmati if you wanted to. As for serving up, I'm using 5 750 milliliter Louvelli containers. I have the weights on the screen, but I do recommend weighing your own and then dividing it by 5. I like to place the rice on one side and then that Beijing beef on the other, but you're more than welcome to create a bed of rice and then place the Beijing beef over the top. If you've got spring onions or scallions, use them as a garnish, and then you can add a little bit of sesame seeds as well if you'd like to. That is completely optional. And this right here is the macros for a single portion, the portion size, the calories, the fat, carbs, and protein, and the rest of the information is in the description. These will last 3 days in the fridge and 3 months in the freezer. And the best part about these plastic-free Louvelli containers is they come with a vacuum pump, which will extend the shelf life for about a day, and I have a link for the containers in the description.
Heating these is nice and simple. A microwave is going to be your best bet. Just heat in 1-minute bursts for about 3 minutes. You can mix it around as well, or you can put it in a pan, but I do recommend separating the rice and then heating that separately, or you can just make the stir fry and then cook the rice fresh each time. That choice is all yours. With all said and done, there is only one thing left to do, and that is we can then dig in. It really is amazing what bicarb soda and velveting meat can do. That steak isn't the greatest quality, it was actually quite cheap, and adding that on there just tenderizes it and makes it feel like a more premium quality beef. Really nice flavor, there's a nice smoky flavor going on as well from the vegetables, and the rice just soaks up the sauce. Beautiful blend of flavors, and I highly recommend you try it.